Whose land is it anyway? The legacy of R.G. Mugabe. The issue of land repatriation is really a difficult issue to tackle in this modern day and age. The things that happened, the loss of land to the white people, happened centuries ago. In the case of Zimbabwe, it was in 1890 or around 1890 when the whites came knocking down our doors, and through a series of treaties and the use of force and trickery, they obtained control of African land. And ever since, that issue has been at the back of all Pan-Africanists, the issue of land repatriation. So when the whites came in 1890, they took over the land. The blacks started to organize themselves in an effort to regain self-rule and regain the land. The first Chimurenga was fought, whereby heroes such as Buyane and Sekuru Chaminuka mobilized people to fight against the white people and take back our land. And the first Chimurenga was a failure. And years later, during the 60s, mid-1960s, the Africans tried again to regain control of the land, and through the second Chimurenga and the subsequent talks at Lancaster, self-rule was obtained, but the land remained in the hands of the white people. And now, the people who were in control of the land were not the original people who had usurped the land, but they were descendants of those who had usurped the land. So, to them it was more of their inheritance, and they were born in Africa. They were by all measures Africans. Not all measures, because Africans have to be black in skin for you to be a real African, but by all measures of citizenship and legal frameworks, they were Africans. They were born in Africa. They were born on African soil. Their parents, yes, might have come from Europe, but they themselves were born in Africa. In some cases, they were the great-grandchildren of the colonists, and they were second-generation Zimbabweans, Africans. So when the second Chimurenga was fought, that issue was left in the back burner. No one really wanted to tackle it. But as the Zimbabwean economy began to fall and decline, and war vets, those who had fought in the second Chimurenga, began to ask, where is our piece of the pie? We fought for the land. Where is the land? The land is still in the hands of the white people. And they retook the land through use of force, and many white people were harmed in Saika 2002 when the blacks retook their land. What was the reaction of the West? The reaction of the West was to send a massive sanction regime to us. Sanctions were put in place. No one was to trade with this rogue regime. How dare you? How dare you take back our land? We stole this land long ago. That makes it our land. Well, it is quite difficult and hard to condense it into a 7-minute video, but this land originally belonged to the Africans. It was forcibly taken by the whites, the Europeans, and as generations went on, the Africans saw it upon themselves to take control of their land. And what is my 2 cents on this whole issue? I think the use of force to obtain land was not justified. It resulted in harm to those white farmers and their families. I could have put the pictures up, but they are too graphic. They were really harmed when the land was being retaken by the blacks, but really it was really inevitable. You can't hold on to such great amounts of land when you are in the minority, and when that land was not taken in using peaceful means. I know no one can give up land in peaceful means, so maybe it is the case of the strongest just taking control of the land. When they were stronger, they took control of the land, and when the blacks became stronger, they took control of the land. It is a moral quagmire to try and tackle, and really disseminate who owns the land. But I think it is common sense. The land originally belonged to the black Africans. It has now been returned to the black Africans. I think homeostasis has been restored to the universe. Yes, the black farmers are really fucking it up. They are really not producing anything. The farms, they are in disrepair. They are not really realizing the full potential of the land they took over. But that is because I really face the facts here. They are ignorant. They don't know the value of maintenance, you know. They just go and, like parasites, they suck off the good, and when the farm is destroyed, they sell off whatever assets that can be sold off. Yeah, that's what they're doing, and it's really not admirable. The situation we are in, there's hunger, there's starvation, there's famine in the country, something that was really not part and parcel of life during the period of occupation by the white people. But I know one day the black people will find their legs and will start producing and making use of those farms. I don't advise the South Africans to follow the Zimbabwean route. We are suffering as a result of taking back the land, but I think it was in the right direction. I think Mugabe was right. I'm not a fervent or ardent supporter of his party or himself or his policies, but I think taking back land really was a no-brainer. The land belonged and should be restored to its original African owners. That's my 2 cents on the issue of land. I don't support the violence. I don't support all this other force that was used, but the land belongs to the Africans and should have been restored to the Africans. Yes, the Africans are not utilizing it to its full potential, but until that day comes, I would rather starve rather than have land under white ownership. Well, this could be interpreted by some as racism. If it is, well, so be it. The whites obtained this land through thievery. I don't think we should reward that. No one should inherit anything that was stolen. That's my 2 cents on the issue. Peace.